Okay, guys, it's been a while, but we're back. Oversteer TV online, the vlog podcast, whatever you want to call us. I'm Tony Castanera. We got Jeff Brown over that way.
Right
Hey,
here.
I got the
Full size.
pointing. A lot of stuff's been going on. A lot of stuff this week. A lot of stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. And so I'm going to throw it right at Jeff right now. NASCAR. The only thing interesting to me going on NASCAR is what's going on with Michael Jordan's racing team and NASCAR. And I'm just going to give you my point of view. The
Okay.
people at running NASCAR are idiots. They are looking more and more like the bad guys. That NASCAR's always had the problem with the whole racism thing. So let's go and treat our African American wealthy owner like crap.
But he's the one who decided to sue him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think if maybe Richard Petty or Rick Hendrick or somebody decided to sue him, they would be getting the same treatment. I don't really think it's got anything to do with the color of his skin. I mean, Denny Hamlin is part owner in that team, so
It's just the
I,
appearance. I'm not saying it
yeah.
is. It's just the appearance. Um,
Well, it's a NASCAR race. I mean, it took them 50 years to ban the Confederate flag. You know, they move a little bit slower on that kind of stuff than the rest of the country. You know, they're a little bit behind. They've got the southern roots. They're the big right wing Republican brand of the country. You know.
but
If only NASCAR fans voted, there would never be another Democrat elected. But
but
I think that situation is, the courts are going to handle that. They're going to come up with a just solution. I, I've never liked the charter system myself.
Mhm.
I always like the fact that you show up to the track on race weekend and you may either make the race or you don't make the race on speed.
Mhm.
You know, they used to have 43 car fields every weekend.
Mhm.
No matter what size the track, there was 43 cars, and there's always 45 or 46 cars that showed up, and three or four of them had to go home
Mhm.
every weekend. And if you didn't qualify for the race, you didn't make it on speed, you went home.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the way it should be. Guaranteeing spots to charter members, I think, is not a right way to do it.
I
But
I see your point of view and I agree with it mostly. But then I look at it if I was a team owner, if I was a Rick Hendrick, if I was one of the big team owners, and all of a sudden I have a charter now. Now it's, before if a team something happened and you went out of business, that was it. You sold your equipment, you gave everybody a nice little goodbye check, and that was it.
uh,
Now, if something happens to your team, you own a charter. That thing's worth money now. All right. It's literally a franchise. It's like the NFL or the
right,
NBA or the NHL. You know, it breeds a bit of consistency where if you're gonna be a franchise team and you're gonna race there, you gotta perform, you gotta show up. Um, Whereas I remember the days of the whole 42 field and everything like that, but I used to hate when you'd have a guy who'd show up there and do like, okay, he starts the race, does a lap, and then parks it. The starting parkers,
yeah,
because they just wanted the points and the little bit of prize money you get for coming in 42nd. It's NASCAR just I guess NASCAR looked at what Formula One was doing, where they became kind of a chart. They became charter a long time ago, where you had to buy your way in and everything. And NASCAR thought they can do it, and they did do it. It's just then they decided, well, we're going to change the rules again after we had the charters. It's one thing when you settle and you get the charter and everything. Okay, fine, we're in. The NASCAR saying, "Oh no, we're going to change it now." Now they were literally saying your charter's worth money up until this day, and then it doesn't count anymore. And we get to redo it.
Well, there's this little thing called democracy. If you have a charter, you should be able to vote on these changes.
Mm-hmm.
Instead,
Yeah.
NASCAR runs it like a dictatorship.
Right.
This what we say goes, and that you're going to either toe the line or you hit the road, or sue us,
Right. As
which is
opposed,
what
yeah,
Michael Jordan decided to do.
yeah. As opposed to, let's say, NFL or baseball, where all the owners have a voice, have a vote, and the commissioner is appointed by the owners. It's like, they literally are democracies. Even Formula One, you have the Concord Agreement. The all the Formula One teams get to vote on any changes or anything that happens. NASCAR saying, "Hey, you got a piece of the action, but you don't have a say." So
Exactly. So that's the issue. I think that the whole lawsuit is about is they make these just arbitrary changes with no say from the teams, and they used to start 43 cars. Now they have a 40 car limit, and they don't have 40 cars to show up for the weekend.
No.
They're starting 36, 38 cars. And that's the problem is these charters, this system is preventing the small guy, maybe the start and park guys from showing up to even participating in the race because they know they're not going to get the points. They know that they're not going to have the chance to advance like the other teams.
Yeah.
Which I kind of liked. I didn't mind the start and park guys as long as they start and park and get out of the way. That's fine.
True.
I mean, they're non-consequential basically to the race, but you still had to qualify on time. You had to make the race. You had to at least be one of the 43 fastest cars.
Right.
Now they don't even have 40 cars show up.
No.
And I'm like, let's keep the charter system, but let's go back to 43 cars. Let's give these small guys a chance to show up and qualify on time. And if they want to start and park, that's on them.
Yeah.
They have to explain that to their sponsors.
Yeah. I would like to see a certain, I think where they have the charter teams, you get your points, you get your money, you get your guarantee starts as long as you perform. But then have a shot for other new teams to come in there. And let's say they give 5 spots automatically every race for new teams or aren't charter teams, and they get the race also, as long as they qualify. And let's say whoever gets enough points, and then set up a thing. If you get up enough points as one of those 5 teams over a season, you get a charter.
Yeah,
you can be a charter team, and or
maybe the lowest charter team that already has a charter has a chance of losing that charter to that team. So you better perform.
Yeah, but then
the charter, idea. I like that idea.
The charter then loses some value because you could be a crappy team right now with a charter, and it's worth just as much as Hendrick or whoever saying it's all, it's. But if you're in there the back and it's like, that might not be worth something, and how racing is, you could go, well, if we take over the team, we'll do better. But then again, a couple of blown tires and you've lost all your money. I don't even know what a charter is going for nowadays.
Millions, I'm sure.
Oh, more than millions upon millions. I know IndyCar is doing something similar. They have a charter system, and pretty much every car got a charter except for that new team, Prema, who just started this year. And I don't know how that's working out for the teams. I haven't been following the charter system. It's kind of like they installed it and then everybody forgot about it. Nobody's talking about it. So,
well, that's the same thing with NASCAR. If Michael Jordan didn't decide to sue, nobody would be talking about it at all, really. That, like you said, it's just a way for the teams to be able to go to the sponsors and say, listen, we're guaranteed to all the races all season long, and we're going to have you in that race, whereas before that they didn't have it. And then of course the teams needed a guarantee some sort of guarantee, like you're saying, an NFL team that holds value
Mm-hmm.
for these teams, like you said, because if they go, you put all this money into a race team, and then all of a sudden you lose your sponsors and this and that, and
Right.
then you've lost all that money.
Yeah.
This way, a charter gives you a chance to recoup at
Yeah.
least a portion of that money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what racing's always been that way. I mean, even the biggest Formula One team, some of them went bankrupt and you never heard of them again, and
Yeah.
they just sold their equipment and that's it.
And like everything else, NASCAR is not afraid to make changes. And I think that as time goes on, and with the lawsuit, when they resolve the lawsuits, that those changes will take effect, and it'll probably come from those lawsuits, and it'll probably improve the situation. Maybe not totally for NASCAR, but it'll improve it for the teams, which is, NASCAR's, how many billions of dollars is NASCAR worth?
Right.
How much money they bring in with the TV deals they got going on and everything. So they do need to share that money with the teams, because without those teams, they don't have a sport.
You see, that's the other difference between other sports. NASCAR, the actual series itself, makes money. It wants to make money. That's the big guy. They don't want to make all the money. You look at the NFL, Major League Baseball. Yeah, the league itself doesn't make money. The money the league generates goes dispersed to the teams.
Right.
The NFL is, people freak out when you hear it, but it's true. The actual NFL, the organization, is a nonprofit. The teams are for profit.
Yeah, but just because the business is nonprofit doesn't mean they're not allowed to make a profit. Believe me, the NFL makes profit. They're just listed as a nonprofit organization.
Right. Well, they just turn around and use that money to promote the NFL, to buy to do sponsorships, to do all kinds. When they fly,
the commissioner some outrageous, ridiculous amount of money that
he's making a ridiculous amount of money, but that's a penny. That's nothing compared to their budget. But when you think about it, to have a NFL football game in London, you know how many millions and millions of dollars that must cost? Yeah. Just to fly, you got to fly the teams over there, all the equipment. You got to send an entire organization over to London. You got to rent a stadium. Okay.
Well, that's like Formula One. How much does it cost?
Oh, yeah.
These race teams to fly all over the world. Here NASCAR is in the United States. They just load everything onto a truck, a big hauler, and drive it over there. Formula One's got to put it on a big 747 equipped to hold all this stuff and fly it around the world. That ain't cheap.
No, that ain't cheap, and that's all. Formula One pays for that. The series pays for that. They get all the teams over there, and you look at how much equipment they bring over and the haulers and everything. It's massive. It's massive, the amount of money those guys spend.
Massive. And it's just like the Miami Grand Prix. All those grandstands and all those buildings and all those things, they're all temporary.
Yeah, but when you're there, they look permanent.
They look permanent, and then as soon as it's over, they tear it all down. Yeah. I think they did this year. They did leave the pit road buildings up.
Yeah, that's not that's permanent now.
Yeah, that's permanent now. I don't go to that side. I am on the other side, but
oh yeah, and I could see why, because that race is contractually like till 2032. They got a contract to race there, so they're making it permanent there. Which is
I expected there'll be more things that'll come up that's permanent there.
Right.
That doesn't interfere with the football operations.
And that's the other thing. We're talking about how the series developed. Formula One's been talking about, the guy who runs it now, Stefano Domenicali, where some things they're thinking about doing is getting rid of practice during the weekend. Because let's face it, that I watch practice. I'm sitting there, I'm intense. I'm like looking and all this stuff, but the average fan could care less about practice. Shortening the races a bit, because younger people, shorter attention spans.
More sprint races. Shortening the race. I think maybe go down to one practice, because I always watch free practice 2, because
that's the best one, right?
That's the one where you really get a sense of what you're going to have.
Mhm.
So knock it down to one practice, one
Mhm.
qualifying, and a
Mhm.
race.
Yeah.
You know,
Probably adding more sprint. They want to thinking about adding more sprint races. I can see some races being is like this last week in the Dutch Grand Prix. It could have been 10 laps shorter. It started droning on a bit. Some of these races do, especially at tracks where there's not that much passing, like this last Zandvoort with the Dutch Grand Prix. Um,
I do love that Dutch Grand Prix. I love that track. I don't know what it is. I guess it's the banking.
the banking is cool, yeah.
They got that turn three that's sort of like Bristol, Tennessee,
Yeah,
sort of like a NASCAR,
yeah.
left hand high bank turn, and I love it. I really.
That's a track where I was thinking during the race, man, I'd love to drive that track. It looked like it'd be fun to get in a sports car and drive that track. But for a
Yeah.
Formula One race, was kind of, it's not a great Formula One track. Because you're not going to have a
Uh,
lot of passing there or anything. It's fun to watch for a while, but um, but it looked like a track. Oh yeah, that'd be great fun to drive it on that banking. Getting a little sports car and go ripping through the banking and all those turns. Looked wild.
I just love the whole way it's set up, the banking. You've got a little bit of everything with that track. You've got flat turns, you've got bank turns, you've got S turns. It's just got a plethora of what you want in a racetrack. Just everything.
And what's really cool about they didn't show it this race, but that thing is like literally a block from the beach.
Yeah.
That track, it's built on sand dunes. So, and they didn't have it that problem this, but they've had other races where they get the wind blowing sand on the track from the
Yeah.
sand dunes. It's pretty wild. I know. Speaking about Formula One and how we're Americans, USA, USA, USA. IndyCar season is over. Alex Palou won again. The man's a
And
beast. But now everybody with the new Cadillac team coming to Formula One, um, they hired two drivers, two old guys, Sergio Perez and Botas.
they
That's
got
a
both of them.
yeah, that's a different issue with I have with that. But now they just announced the Cadillac team that they have signed Colton Herta
Okay.
to be their test driver, their third driver, so to speak. And they want to put him in Formula Two so he can get his super license points and to learn the tracks over in Europe.
Why wouldn't they do that with Palou?
Oh, well.
I
Well,
mean, he's
first
the
off,
one that deserves a Formula One shot.
yeah. The guy who's the main guy for the Cadillac team, also owns Andretti Autosport.
Okay.
And Colton Herta drives for Andretti Autosport.
Wow.
Um, they're making a big deal because Colton's American. And I remember when they first announced the Cadillac team, everybody says, "Oh, Colton Herta, Colton Herta," and I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah.
I mean, they say he has shown flashes of brilliance, but to me, he's also shown some really stupid mistakes out there. This year, he's not even the fastest driver on his team. That's Kyle Kirkwood. Colton Herta didn't win a single race this year. Kirkwood's won three.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Herta's basically giving up his IndyCar career to go give it a shot in Formula One. I don't know if he's got it. I would have, if I was going to be an American, it would probably be Kirkwood or Malukas out there. 5 years ago, I would have said Newgarden, but he's now too old. He's in his mid-30s now, and then for Formula One to start, that's kind of too old. But there's been this love affair with the fanboys, and everything about Colton Herta, and I was like, has Colton Herta ever impressed you? Like, hey, he's the man. He's like the best. He's like the best America has.
No. I mean, like you said, he showed flashes of. I mean, he's got all the talent in the world, but he
Mhm.
just doesn't have the consistency
Right.
to put it all together. You know.
And it, it it's it, I know everybody's got they're desperate. We got to get an American in Formula One. I understand the reason behind it, and I think Cadillac, if you're going to have them on the team,
Go Kyle Larson if you want to get an American. That's got talent. That's a proven winner, a proven commodity. That I think that could go into Formula One and succeed would be Kyle Larson.
up
If
until
you
this
want
year. Everybody was like, and even I was saying, Kyle Larson's great. He has stunk up the joint this year. I mean, Memorial Day weekend, he crashed in 2 races by himself. Okay. He is like really fallen. Like, it's like he was up there and all of a sudden, like, oh, this year sucks. I don't know what's going on.
He still won Homestead. I mean, he dominated Homestead. They should rename it the Kyle Larson Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah, that was a long time ago when it comes to racing.
Way back at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but he's like fallen off incredibly.
Well, you know, with NASCAR, sometimes that doesn't have a lot to do with the driver. Sometimes that's
it's
with the team, the equipment, different things. See, the thing about Hendrick Motorsports is you've got the things divided. You know, you got all these top-notch drivers, so you may not be getting the best equipment every week. They may be focusing somewhere else. He may be better off with a smaller team, like a Michael Jordan team or somewhere that would put all their resources into him. You know, because I think they look at him like, oh, you're a great driver. You just go out there and get it done. We'll give you the second best equipment, you know, this week.
Or why did they give everybody the best equipment this week?
Supposedly it's all equal, but I don't think that it is. I think that, you know, they have their favorites at different times. Like Chase Elliott, you know, he's won championships. What has he done lately? He's done nothing. You know, I think they said, you know, you got your championship. Now you're getting the 4th best equipment. You know, Kyle Larson got his championship. Now you're getting the 3rd best equipment. Yeah. Get out there and drive and prove that you need to get the top equipment. You know.
Well, that's the way. One of the things they do in racing, especially at top levels, each driver has their crew chief.
Right.
He's the guy who works on his car. And you might have 3 cars on your team, but your crew chief is for your car. They have a crew chief for the other guy. You have mechanics for your car and mechanics for the other guy. Each, you know, they're competing too. They want the raise. They want to keep their job. Yeah. And so if their guy does better and the teammate doesn't do as good.
Well, sometimes there's not enough parts to go around. You know, you got 4 cars and the factory only ships you 3 parts. Somebody's using an old part, you know, that not as good as the new part, so they have to make that decision. And you know, Jeff Gordon now is running Hendrick Motorsport. I don't think Rick Hendrick really has day-to-day operations.
No.
And let's face it, Jeff Gordon favors the 24 car, and because that was his car. And you know, William Byron, I think, gets first pick of all the parts that come in.
I don't know. I don't think Jeff Gordon is going to risk championships and the millions of dollars involved just because, oh, that's my favorite number. Come on.
Well, you know, I think he'll put the resources into the team and driver has the best shot at winning the championship. You know, as the season goes along, we saw that Chase Elliott, it didn't look like he was going to win it. You know, like you said, Kyle Larson wrecked a few races. Didn't look like he's going to win it, so they're going to put their resources into the 24 car.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Car. Yeah, because if anything, if I was Jeff Gordon, I would make sure whoever drove the 24 car sucked because I want that number for me and nobody else.
Well, it's a you know, he's running the deal. Then one day when Rick Hendrick decides to leave or dies or something, you know, then it's all set up that it becomes Jeff Gordon's team. I don't know if they'll, you know, still call it Hendrick Motorsports. They probably will. Sort of like McLaren. How long has the McLaren been dead and they still call it McLaren? And Williams, there's no Williams running the team now, and they still call it Williams in Formula One. That is. You know, it's one of those iconic names that you just want to keep, even though it'll probably be Jeff Gordon's team.
Which just an idea just popped in my head. NASCAR, if you're listening, I got a good money-making idea. Why doesn't NASCAR, some of the great drivers whose number, like everybody knows 24, everybody knows 40, you know, Petty's 42. 43. I'm sorry. Why don't they retire those numbers?
Well, because there's not enough numbers to go around. They've only got from 0 to 99.
They can go to 101. They can go over one.
And when you have 40 drivers out there, then that takes up a half of your numbers right there.
But you can have you can go triple digits.
Nah, I don't think they're ever going to go to triple digits. There was a time they refused to let a driver have a 13 on the car.
Mm.
They were very superstitious. But if there is a number to ever be retired, it will be 43.
Yeah.
And then the next one would probably be 3.
Right.
And then the one after that would either be 24 or 48.
Yeah.
But they've never retired a number, and I don't see them ever doing it.
I think it would be a smart move to retire. I mean, the truly great ones, like the numbers you said.
Those are the top 4, I believe, all time.
How many championships did Gordon win?
Gordon, I think, won 4.
4. That'd probably be a good cutoff. You have to have won 4 championships or 5 championships or something,
But the 3 guys with 7.
Pardon me?
There's 3 drivers that have won 7 championships: Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Jimmy Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, if you want to do it that way, let's say 7 champions. You win 7 championships, we retire your number.
Mm-hmm. And then
that way there would be 3 numbers retired now, and it'd be very doubtful there would be any added.
Yeah, and
Jeff Gordon's retired, so he's not going to add on to his total.
Yeah, and that's a great marketing, because now you can turn around and all of a sudden people want to buy, number 3 and number 43 memorabilia again and everything, and then you can hang up banners and trophies and put up their number at tracks and everything.
I think the closest right now that's active is 22 car, Joey Logano.
He has 3, right?
He's got 3.
Yeah.
So he would have to win 4 more.
How did hell a guy like Joey Logano win 3 championships?
And the same reason why he may win one this year, because he has this ability to come September and October and November to turn it on. You don't hear from him all season long.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes Joey Logano.
But he's like one of those guys, you see him on a track, you go, oh man, that kid's fast. He's,
he's not a kid anymore.
No, I know. But
I still think of him as a kid because I'm so old. But he's been around a long time to win 3 championships.
Yeah. All right. Geez, we didn't even talk about racing, because who has time for that? Because it's a business now.
Well, we're back from hiatus, so that's good.
Yeah, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can keep this up. In life, that's the problem with this stuff. We're doing this just for fun, for love of the sport and everything, and life gets in the way, and we have our priorities, right?
Yeah. Well, we had an end this time because Formula One came back from their summer hiatus, first race back, and then it's also NASCAR was their first playoff race, so we've got a whole playoffs to go through, and then of course IndyCar was their final race,
right? Which
is smart of them because their TV ratings are so bad. They want to get out before NFL starts.
Actually, the last race in Nashville did real good for IndyCar. They had like a 1.4 million.
Yeah, but let's face it. Once this NFL season starts this Sunday, IndyCar is going to be the last. They're already lowest on the totem pole.
Yeah, well, last year the race was up against the NFL, and it got 400,000. I mean, so
yeah.
And this is
it's smart of them to go out early. I think it's too early, but their numbers just don't justify them going longer.
It's a double-edged sword. They're going out now. They don't have to compete against the NFL. But then again, nobody talks about IndyCar for 6 months. It doesn't start again until March. So,
right. And basically, it's the Indianapolis 500. If they didn't have
That-
the Indianapolis 500, there would not be an IndyCar series.
no, not at all. So, all right. It's been great, guys. Like, share. We talked a lot of stuff. I'm sure you're really mad at us, all three of you guys who watch us. So we'll put it out there, and we'll try to do this again next week. That's Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown. I'll get it right one day. Point the right way.
Oh, that's from the past.
I'm Tony Castanera, or Anthony, as it says down here. And we'll see you next week with Oversteer TV Online, the podcast vlog. How's that? There you go.
Sounds good. I'm going to say that 3 times fast.
No, we won't. See ya.